Lewis.
George, Rosie Lewis from The Australian. Nice to finally meet you face to face. Thank you very much for taking all of us journalists' questions for the past several weeks.
I'll send you my bill.
We really appreciate it. I was going to ask you how confident you think Malcolm Turnbull should be. He's obviously said he's very confident that his colleagues in particular will keep their seats. You talk about that confidence being misplaced. What would your advice be for the President, Prime Minister then? Should he be preparing for a by-election? And is there a foolproof process that all parties can go through, a simple foolproof process that the Nats, the Greens, One Nation, etc. can go through to ensure their candidates are not dual citizens?
So firstly, on the confidence point, look, any person who says they are confident as to what the High Court will say, I think you just need to be wary, and it's why I'm very careful in couching my language. I'd be surprised or more likely than not, but we're dealing with an area of law that has not been looked at on this point for some 25 years. And I think confidence suggests a level of hope rather than actually bearing out the state of the law as it currently stands. But it's concerning for the point I spoke about in terms of ministers, because I think if you're confident, perhaps ministers will still be making decisions, but that's very unwise at the moment. Because if I'm correct, and in fact there's a real possibility they will be struck out, we may end up revisiting ministerial decisions, including on contentious matters, and this could greatly extend the period of instability and uncertainty. And so if actions are being taken wrongfully on the basis of confidence, that's a problem. And of course you can look, that's presumably one of the reasons why Matt Canavan stood down, for exactly this reason, that it's not wise to be a minister under this cloud in these circumstances. The other thing I'd say about the confidence point is if the government's arguments succeed in meaning that Barnaby Joyce is saved from disqualification, then that may well mean that Larissa Waters as well is saved. There are some similarities in those arguments. Now, she had so little confidence she immediately resigned based on whatever advice she got. So again, it gives you a sense of some of the genuine and legitimate uncertainties in this area. As to the process, look, good vetting, reading the form, would be a good start. And I think what's significant here is you can see there are real pockets of problems. I mean, the Nats and the Greens have particular problems here, but when it comes to Labor and Liberal, I just suspect their processes are far more robust. They look very carefully at these things, they do their research, and they might get caught, but they'd be unlucky, I think. Unless we get into this area of entitled to subject dual citizenship, and that they just put to one side, I suspect, because that would be chaos if the court went there. But vetting would be a good start of it. But even then, it's really about risk management. And when I often advise candidates in this area, and very often I say, I can't give you a good answer because it partly depends upon the law of Venezuela, the law of this country. It may change. Or in fact, the country itself has uncertainties as to how it applies its own law. So one of the problems here is that you cannot give a clean bill of health to someone in many circumstances because of the poor way in which this section is structured. It's built for instability because of the society in which we now live.